In this episode, we'll be installing the toe boards, also known as perimeter boards, around the hoop house at the base of the anchor posts. All right, I have some boards that I took off of a fence that was being demolished to make way for a new park. These are 2x6s. They were pressure treated. They've been in place about 12 to 15 years. I picked the best of them, and I'm going to use these for the perimeter boards. They're typically 7 to 9 feet long. I'm just going to use these small ones. So we have more scabs, but I won't have to spend $125 for 16-foot 2x6s to put around the perimeter. On the eastern side of the hoop house, remember I didn't get it level before, so we've got to dig this down so we can put the perimeter boards on the outside. And this will show you about how deep we've got to dig this material. We got a lot of digging to do. And we started digging this by hand using a mattock and a shovel, but that's going to be way too much work. And even though this ground is pretty hard, the bucket on my tractor will fit in between two anchor posts, and I'm going to try and see if I can dig out as much as possible with the tractor. Okay, we have put a couple of boards in here. We got the first one in between the first bay and the first bay. I am putting the holes in the perimeter board 1.5 inches up from the bottom. And that way I don't have to worry about putting a level on the perimeter boards. I don't have to worry about a string line. All I got to do is line the hole up vertically with the perimeter board. What we're going to do is we're going to put these boards in, and we'll match them up as good as we can. See right there, the ends don't exactly meet. So I have put a mark there, and I'm going to saw that off. And I've got that screw in. And then we'll do the same thing all the way down. We got more than half of this done today. You can see, looking down there, that's where we stopped. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 more bays to go. But it's looking pretty good. Notice when I scabbed these boards together, I didn't really try and make them too pretty. The top of the two outside boards is level, but the other one I just screwed on as best I could. As you can see, if we're going to level the inside of the hoop house with the top of the boards, we got a lot of dirt to move. And I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with it. I got a pile here, and a pile here, and a pile way down yonder. We're going to have to just spread this stuff out. Know anybody needs any good hard red clay? I was trying to twist some of those anchor posts so that I'd get the holes lined up correctly. And this is what I did to my pipe wrench. You can see that it's got bent a little bit. So this was a good wrench. I bought this from Tractor Supply. So those posts are in the ground and they're going to stay. Okay, we've got this entire east side done. And as we look down this way, it looks like it's reasonably straight. We got a couple of kinks down here in the far end, but I think they'll be okay. And we've started over here on the other side. And we got the first board in on this side. Well, the sun's about to go down on us. We got almost half of this done. If I hadn't had to go buy a new drill driver, we'd have got it all finished. But we got this done today, and I'll finish it next time we're out here. You can see how cracked the soil is. We haven't had any rain, and this is hard red clay. Okay, got a new helper now. So we've got like 3 more boards to put in, and we'll be done with this job. A new helper at work. We're bolting the perimeter boards to the anchor posts. Okay, we now have the perimeter board all the way down the west side. All the way to the end. So we finished both sides now. And looking at it from this way, it looks pretty straight. So we're in good shape, I think. Now we're ready to start putting the bows together. That's going to be a chore. But it's going to be fun. It'll start looking like a hoop house then. In addition to the bolt at the bottom that holds the perimeter board in, or the toe board as it's called in the instructions, at the top there's another screw that goes through the anchor posts, and that screw is to set the bows on. The bolt and the nut will go in that hole, and the post will sit down, fit in the anchor post like a sleeve, and sit on top of this bolt. So those bolts need to be tightened, not too tight, but just enough to keep them snug in there. Notice, do not make the mistake of putting them in backwards. What you see in this video, the round top of the bolt is to the outside of the hoop house. The nut is to the inside of the hoop house. The reason for that is you want to take all precautions to protect the plastic from getting snagged. Of course, we're going to cover all these with duct tape and smooth them out. But we need to put these this way. That's an easy mistake to make. Here's another easy mistake to make. When you are driving your anchor post, if you're going to drive them and not set them in concrete, you want to make sure that the holes are perpendicular to the long axis of the hoop house. I've put these down into the ground, and you can see it doesn't take very much to see that they are not perpendicular. They're at a sharp angle, and I had to drill my hole in the toe board to match that angle. I tried to turn these in the ground using a pipe wrench and a breaker bar, but all I did was bend the pipe wrench. So it's very important to make sure that the holes are perpendicular to the long axis. This is a good example of what they should look like. Even these are off a little bit, but they're very much closer to being perpendicular to the long axis. So that's what you're shooting for.
If you like this video, be sure to give us a thumbs up. Thanks for watching the Itchy Farm channel. You can watch the entire series on building a commercial-grade hoop house. We call it the Hoop House Saga. You can watch the antics of a couple of old farts trying their best not to be so old. And you can learn tips and techniques for improving your success growing fruits, vegetables, and berries.